A lion roars, nothing moves. A wolf howls, deer freeze. A human just talks, and every animal panics and runs for their life. That's not a joke. In a massive scientific experiment inside South Africa's Kruger National Park, researchers set up hidden cameras and speakers near a crowded waterhole. They blasted lion growls, gunshots, and barking dogs. Then they played something else, just a person, speaking calmly, in a normal conversation. The result? The animals panicked twice as fast and ran 40% quicker from the human voice than from the actual lions. Not from the gunshots, not from the dogs, from a person talking. This raises a massive, terrifying question that nobody is really asking. Why? Why do animals, including lions, leopards, and animals that have never even seen a human, act like we are the most dangerous thing to ever exist on this planet? The answer is stranger, darker, and way more interesting than you think. Here's what most people think when they hear animals are afraid of humans. They think, okay, yeah, humans hunt animals. Animals learn to avoid us. Makes sense. And that's true. But it's only the surface. The real picture is so much bigger and so much weirder that when researchers started digging into it, they couldn't believe what they were finding. Because here's the thing, animals are not just avoiding us when we're holding a gun. They're not just running when they see us coming with a spear or a trap. They're running from our voice, from a recording, playing out of a speaker in the middle of the forest, when no human is even there. The animal hears a human talking, just normal talking, not even yelling, and it acts like it's about to die. That's not a normal predator response. That's something else, something deeper. And the more scientists looked into it, the more they realised we have done something to the animal kingdom that no other predator in history has ever done. We have made them afraid of the idea of us. Point 1. We broke the rules of nature. You might think animals just learn to run when they see a gun or a spear, but it goes way deeper than that. A groundbreaking study revealed that humans kill prey animals at up to 14 times the rate of any other natural predator on Earth. Not 2 times, not 5 times, 14. And it's not just prey animals. We kill apex predators too. Mountain lions, one of the most dangerous cats in North America, get killed by humans 9 times more often than by anything else in nature. Think about what that means from the animal's point of view. Every other predator in nature has limits. A lion can only run so fast. A wolf can only hunt so often. But us? We have guns, traps, boats, helicopters, night vision, GPS. We can kill anything, anywhere, anytime. There is no hiding from us. There is no outrunning us. Animals have been living with that reality for tens of thousands of years. Of course they're afraid of us. We are, statistically, the most lethal thing that has ever existed on this planet. Point 2. A calm voice rewrote an entire forest. But here's where it gets genuinely insane. Can our voices alone actually reshape an entire ecosystem without us even being there? To test this, scientists rigged a full square kilometre of forest in California with hidden speakers playing human conversations. For 5 weeks, they broadcast the sound of people just talking through the trees, across the whole area. What happened next was something they didn't fully expect. Mountain lions completely abandoned the area. Not just moving carefully, they changed where they lived entirely. Bobcats became strictly nocturnal. They stopped moving during the day, full stop, just because they heard human voices somewhere in the forest. Skunks cut their activity down. Opossums stopped foraging as much. We rearranged when and where these animals exist just with our voices. We didn't even have to show up. Point 3. It cascades all the way down to the tiniest animals. But here is the part nobody expects. When the bigger animals ran from the human voices in that California experiment, something happened to the small ones. Deer mice started moving more freely. Wood rats spent more time feeding. Why? Because their predators had fled. The carnivores that eat the small animals were so scared of the human voices that they left the area, and suddenly the small animals had the whole forest to themselves. Fear of humans doesn't just affect the animal that hears us. It ripples through the entire food chain. When we scare a mountain lion, we accidentally give deer mice more food. When we scare wolves, we change what deer eat. When we change what deer eat, we change what plants grow. We are reshaping entire ecosystems just by existing, just by talking, just by being somewhere. Point 4. A puma abandoned its fresh kill just from hearing a voice. This might be the most dramatic moment in all of this research. A puma, a big, powerful apex predator, had just made a kill. It walked back to eat. Researchers triggered a speaker nearby. Not a loud sound, not a scream. Just a human speaking in a calm, completely normal tone. The puma ran, left the kill completely, chose to go hungry rather than stay near a human voice. This is an animal that hunts deer and elk for a living, running from a recording. And scientists said this might be changing the entire ecological role of large carnivores. Because if top predators keep abandoning their kills every time they hear us, they eat less, they hunt more often, and the whole system gets thrown off all because of us. Point 5. Fear of humans is actually written into animal DNA. Okay, here's where it gets really strange. You might think animals learn to fear us because they get hunted or they watch other animals react to us. That makes sense. Learning, experience, survival, instinct. But researchers found something that goes way beyond that. Fear can be passed down through generations, not through behaviour, not through watching parents, but through biology, through something in the sperm and eggs. Small pieces of genetic material that, in the words of one researcher, act like puppeteers, controlling how genes get expressed in the next generation. In one experiment, mice were trained to fear a specific smell. Their children who had never smelled it were born more sensitive to it, more afraid of it, and so were their grandchildren. The fear was written into the biology, passed down like eye colour. Now apply that to humans. Tens of thousands of years of animals being hunted by us, generation after generation. Fear of humans doesn't just get learned, it gets inherited. Some animals are born already knowing to be afraid of us because their ancestors were. They aren't learning to fear us, they are born fearing us. Point 6. Australian animals prove the fear is ancient, not modern. Here's a piece of evidence that seals it completely. Australia doesn't have big mammalian predators like lions or tigers. So for a long time, scientists assumed Australian animals, kangaroos, wallabies, possums, just didn't have strong fear responses. They called it predator naivety. But then, researchers ran the same speaker experiment on them. And native Australian marsupials fled from human voices 2.4 times more often than from the next scariest thing, dogs. Not lions, not wolves, not anything native to their ecosystem. Humans. They had never evolved alongside lions. They had no experience with wolves. But they were still terrified of us. Because humans have been in Australia for about 50,000 years. And in that time, we hunted them. And that history, that ancient history, is still living in their biology today. Meanwhile, fallow deer, a species introduced to Australia that didn't co-evolve with human hunters there, didn't show the same extreme fear because they don't carry that history. The difference between the two groups proved it. The fear isn't random. It's a scar from the past, and it goes back further than most people realise. Point 7. Some prey animals are using us as a shield. This one completely flips everything upside down. If humans are so terrifying, you'd think every animal just avoids us completely, right? Wrong. Some prey animals have figured out something very clever. They've noticed that if wolves and mountain lions are afraid of humans, then the safest place to be is near humans. Elk in Canada's Banff National Park deliberately hang out near areas with high human activity, not because they like us, because wolves avoid those zones. The elk are hiding behind us, using us as bodyguards. In Nepal, researchers found that when humans were present, prey animals like deer showed up in those zones at a rate of 91%, compared to 68% when no humans were around. The deer were deliberately moving toward people to escape their natural predators. Scientists call it the human shield hypothesis. We are so frightening to predators that prey animals have started treating us like protection. We broke the whole predator-prey system so completely that animals had to invent a completely new survival strategy just to deal with us. Point 8. The Galapagos shows what the world looked like before us. Go to the Galapagos Islands and something feels completely off. Sea lions lying on benches. Birds that don't move when you walk past them. Iguanas that look at you and just don't care. It feels magical. But what it actually is the absence of something. The absence of fear. The animals there evolved for thousands of years, with no large mammalian predators, no humans hunting them, no reason to develop a fear response toward us. So they didn't. They're not brave, they're not friendly, they just never got the memo. They never learned, and their ancestors never experienced what it means to be near a human. Scientists studying them ask the uncomfortable question: is that fear completely gone from their biology? Has it been bred out across generations? What happens if humans start hunting them seriously now? The Galapagos animals are a window into a world that no longer exists anywhere else on Earth. A world before we showed up and changed everything. PTS are now using this fear to save animals. Here's the twist, ending nobody expected. The same fear that we spent 50,000 years building into animals, scientists want to use it to protect them. The idea is simple. You want to keep endangered rhinos away from poachers. You don't need fences. You don't need guards on patrol every night. You put a speaker in the bush and play a recording of humans talking. The rhinos move away from the sound, out of the danger zone, on their own. Want to keep elephants from destroying farmers' crops? Same thing. Want to push wolves or mountain lions away from livestock? Human voices through a speaker triggered automatically when an animal gets too close. We are so deeply coded into animals as a threat that our voice alone, just words coming out of a box, can redirect where endangered species go. The thing that has been the biggest danger to wildlife for tens of thousands of years might now become the tool that keeps them alive. Not by changing what we do, just by letting animals hear us coming. Here's the thing that hits completely different when you put all of this together. Animals aren't just afraid of guns. They're not just afraid of hunters. They're afraid of us. The sound of us. The smell of us. The idea of us. And that fear is so deep, so old, and so built into their biology that some animals are born with it before they ever see a human face. We didn't just become the apex predator. We became something that doesn't have a name in nature. We became the thing that reorganizes where animals sleep, what they eat, when they're awake, and how their children are born just by existing. No other species has ever done that, not once, in the entire history of life on Earth. So let's bring it all back. Animals fear humans, not because we're big or fast or strong. They fear us because we kill at rates that break every rule nature ever made. Because our voices alone send them running faster than lion roars. Because that fear has been written into their genes across thousands of generations. Because we turned bobcats strictly nocturnal, made pumas abandon fresh kills, caused prey animals to hide behind us instead of from us, and reshaped entire food chains just by being nearby, we are not just a predator. We are the thing that predators are afraid of. And the animals have known that for a very, very long time. We're just now starting to understand what that actually means and what we can do with it. If that changed how you see world and history, subscribe, because there's a lot more where that came from.